Hello and welcome to another episode of the SMEFocus show brought to you by FactoryNOW TV. I'm your host, Chris Greenough, and in this series we will focus on SMEs within the British manufacturing sector. Every week we will discuss and analyse the opportunities and challenges for the industry in these unprecedented times. I have worked in the sector for over 26 years and I'm CCO at SDE Technology, one of the leading manufacturers of pressings and assemblies in the UK. As you can hopefully appreciate, this show is very much for manufacturers by manufacturers. My guest today is Terry Gibson, and Terry is Development Manager at the University of Wolverhampton. Terry, how are you?
Very well, thank you, Chris. Thank you for having me on the show. It's great to be here.
Yeah, no problem. Good to see you. Tell me about the university and your role within the organisation.
Sure. So the university features, as most universities do, you know, we're all about higher education, but increasingly it's about apprenticeships as well. We've been delivering higher education in some form or another in Wolverhampton for close to 200 years. We actually started life as a manufacturing institute way back in 197 years ago, something like that now. But over time it's evolved. You know, we took on a School of Art, we've taken on business and law and things like that, to the extent now that the university has roughly 20,000 students spread across 4 main campuses. So there's the city centre campus in the middle of Wolverhampton. We've just finished completion over the summer on a new School of Art in the built environment. No, sorry, School of Architecture and Built Environment. Okay. And that one's at the old Springfield Brewery site in the city centre. We've also got a campus in Walsall. That one's mostly delivering performing arts. It's also delivering sports education, and it's also a lot of nursing, paramedic studies, things like that. We have a campus in Telford as well, and that was historically that's been all engineering, but just recently we are moving towards opening tuition on nursing, midwifery, paramedic science, things like that as well from there. Essentially that's, you know, wherever you are going to end up working within those fields, that's where you do your training. So we offer that as a blanket across all the facilities.
Fantastic. So a very wide range of training provision, but also much bigger than most people think. They think of the Telford campus, but you've got lots of other strings to the bow at Wolverhampton.
Massively, yeah. I mean, we're a very, for quite such a large organisation, we're quite local as well. Like I say, we've got about 20,000 students. We've got more than 100,000 graduates that we're in touch with alone. It's about 120,000, something like that now, and countless more graduates that we've just sort of lost touch with over the years that are out in the world doing amazing things. And increasingly, we want to get back in touch with people. But also we're delivering that education experience that's helping our local community. About 80% of our current student population come from within 20 miles of the centre of Wolverhampton, and they tend to continue working there after they've graduated. So in a very real sense, the university is investing in the future of the community that we operate in and that we deliver that education for.
Absolutely fantastic. Now, we met a couple of years ago when SDE got involved in the F3 team that the University of Wolverhampton run. COVID hit sort of end of March. How has the racing season been, if there has been one this year?
Yeah, it was a tough blow for University of Wolverhampton Racing. Essentially, we run a racing team that comprises a Formula 3 Cup team, a Morgan Motor Company team, and a Formula Student team. That's a very education-led project to design and build competition, as opposed to live circuit racing. And then when COVID happened, we sort of had to look very hard at where our students were in the education process. We had to really consider what the safest route for them, you know, whether we can put them trackside and that have them safe in a COVID environment, and whether they can be safe in a live project environment. Essentially, most students, first and second years, had only done a couple of classes in the workshops with the cars. So unfortunately, we had to make the decision that 2020 would be a no racing year for us, and it was heartbreaking for everybody involved. But ultimately, safety for everyone concerned, our drivers, our student engineers, everybody that's involved is paramount. And so we've been working hard over the summer to make sure 2021 is going to be an absolute cracker.
So what do your students get out of engagement with motorsport, and how does the experience help them with their studies in general?
Yeah, so very early on, UWR was created as this sort of holistic approach to engineering education. So not just do you get, by coming and doing a degree at the university, you get that classroom experience, you get the sort of the academic side of things. You then go into workshops and you get to do the hands-on practical learning. And then what we found was lacking, certainly in motorsport disciplines and automotive disciplines as well, but in a lot of other engineering disciplines, was taking that theoretical education and applying it in a real world setting. So that's what UWR was designed to do. We're not training racing drivers, we're training motorsport engineers. There's a great graphic behind, every Formula One driver is at the top, and there's like 200 guys behind him. And we're training those, the men and women that are supporting the driver to be all he can be, or she, as the case may be. And that's why UWR exists. So we take students, give them that live workshop experience, and then go real racing. We are competing against live professional racing teams, guys that have been doing this job for decades in some cases. And we punch well above our weight, actually, for a modestly budgeted racing team, crewed by students that are generally between 18 and 25-ish. We're in the F3 terms, we've been second in the championship 3 times. We've come third once, and we've had numerous race wins, many podiums in terms of the relationship with the Morgan Motor Company. In 2019, one of our drivers won the championship, the Morgan Challenge overall. So it's a great learning tool to give our students an opportunity not only to experience engineering in a motorsport environment, but also develop the soft skills of effective communication,
team building,
deadline, team building, etc. Certainly from like a deadline perspective, if the green light goes on a racing circuit and your car's not there, there's no applying for extensions. You've got to be on it, and so it really delivers an extra something to our graduates who then go on and get jobs in motorsport.
Fantastic. Now, I'm a motorsport fan. Lewis Hamilton has won his 7th F1 world title. How do you think we can inspire the next generation around motorsport and engineering so they can actually see it as a career?
Well, that's one of the things that seems very misunderstood about engineering careers generally, about motorsport in particular. There's a lot of focus on the drivers, absolutely, and quite rightly so. But as a career, so to speak, and how to get into it, there's a bit of a disconnect between the sort of the school age and then into your A levels, and what do you need at A level? Do you even need A levels to go on and study a motorsport engineering degree? And that's where the sort of the apprenticeships and things like that start coming in. So really, what we're endeavouring to do with UWR is not only train those that already have a career path in mind, but take our cars into school environments, take them into things like the downhill derbies and things like that. Any opportunity to get exposure to children, young people from every community, every background, and say, you can be doing this as well. Here's how, here's a route to get you there. We've got a car based at the Silverstone experience, which is a museum experience that's just opened up next to the Silverstone racing circuit. The university is a founding partner of the Silverstone experience, so that we can show what would have been hundreds of thousands and what has transpired this year to be about 40,000 visitors, but give them that, you've been inspired by the motorsport here. If you want to know more, get in touch. Here's how you can move on and get a job in that role.
Absolutely. And Obviously, 2021, we're around the corner. We've got Brexit. The impact of COVID will go on for many months, I fear. How do you see the next 12 months for the university team and the F3 team as well?
So from a university perspective, I think everybody kind of panicked about how many students were going to still want to study, how many people were going to want to defer their studies into the 2021-22 academic year. Actually, what we saw was a lot of students still wanting that higher education experience. So for the next 6 months is going to be a lot of interesting developments in terms of the way teaching is delivered, a lot of this kind of thing where teaching is delivered virtually, and then hopefully in the new year, we can look at more practical, COVID-safe face-to-face environments so that we can get our teams back out on the circuit. And then hopefully, all things considered, by September 2021, we'll be back to business as usual. For the racing teams, we'll kick off again in sort of April-ish of 2020. We have every intention of being there for the F3, for the Morgan company. We want our students to be out there mixing it and being able to get that environment. And we've been doing a lot of digital tutorials on how to rebuild a car and sharing those with students via Teams, things like that, making the most of the opportunity that time has given us by not racing to put some fundamental measures in place to really enhance that learning experience.
And what about the new logo for the team for next year? A new car?
Similar cars, same cars, but new liveries. We always have a new livery every year. It's designed by Shane Kelly, who's our driver and team mentor on the F3, and Matt Fenton, who's our senior race engineer. They're the ones that teach the practical side of things to our current student body, and then it's all very much up to me as development manager and sponsorships manager to find people like your good selves who want to see their logo on the side of an F3 car go by at 160 miles an hour. Absolutely. So that you can just about catch a glimpse of it. But no, it's very much about giving opportunities to people like yourselves and anybody that's interested in being involved in racing to get their employees, to get their prospective employees involved with something and give them an educational outlet to do it. Fantastic. Terry, absolutely great to talk to you. I will see you with some racing next year, fingers crossed. Always love watching the F3 with you guys. No, it'd be great to have you there again, Chris. And if not, then check us out on our LinkedIn, our Twitter, our YouTube accounts. We're always posting content there, so anybody that's interested can find us that way, or through the university website wlv.ac.uk/UWR. We'd love to speak to anybody that wants to know more about racing. Fantastic, Terry. Thank you for your time today. Great to speak to you. Thanks very much. Thank you. That brings us to the end of another show. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to meeting more of our brilliant SME manufacturers next week. If you would like to get in touch with the show with a comment, a suggestion, or even to appear on a future episode, please email us tv@mtd.media. So from me, Chris G @SDE, goodbye. Thank you for watching.